All right, my fellow agents, welcome back. It is I, X7, your scientist of sci fi movies and host of Zenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters. Today, we were going to be talking about Goldface the Fantastic Superman, but thanks to Titanic Creations sending me their Gorgo figure, well, my Gorgo figure, their excellent Gorgo figure, I decided I'd watch Gorgo. We haven't had a giant monster movie since Son of Godzilla, and it's time. Plus, this is a movie about from England, and it, it it's good. It borders on great, but there's some problem. There's some storyline issues with it that your humble agent has. However, having said all that, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and let me know what you think about Gorgo. Is it as good as some of the fans claim? Is it as good as the Japanese monster movies? Is it as good as Eugene Laurier's other two monster movies? This is probably we'll get into that too. So, having said all that, let's roll. Okay, so here's a new part, a new item for the podcast is I'm going to have this title card here at the beginning, and then at the end there'll be a clue as to what the next, tomorrow's Monday, that'll be an animated show, but the next feature we'll talk about will be. So you have to stay tuned and watch the entire thing now. These pictures here came from the Blu-ray that VCI released 12 years ago that I finally bought. I now kind of wish I'd have waited for the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray, and I may still get it and see if I can sell this one or give it to somebody, maybe as a giveaway for a good answer. Be that as it may, it's a fine picture. It's the best at the time. It's been the best presentation of the movie, which has had some pretty unfortunate presentations. So it doesn't have much. It does have quite a few extras on it, but let's just get into the movie. You can check out the Blu-ray and see what you like. So King Brothers, of course, you'll notice that Rodan is flying above there because they did release Rodan in the States and had a big hit with it. But we're going to be talking about Gorgo. Gorgo! Starring Bill Travers and William Sylvester, two highly unlikable leads for 9/10 of the movie. There's Frank and Maurice King, and directed by Eugene Laurier. He'd previously had a big hit with The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, and I don't know if he had a big hit with the Giant Behemoth, but I can't imagine that it did poorly for the amount of money that it made. The movie runs a whopping 78 minutes, so it is short, it is compact. The reason, we'll get into that. And it was released in March 29th, 1961 in the United States, and October 27th, 1961 in the UK, and probably the rest of the world sometime after that. I never did see it growing up. It was not on here in Fossil Bed on Channel 2 or any of the late night channels, though I desperately wanted to see it. Famous Monsters made it look and sound so cool, and the pictures are great. So they're off the coast of Ireland in Nara. So that's not a real place. It's an anagram of the Aran Islands, which are off Ireland's west coast in the Atlantic, probably. So beautiful scenery here. I mean, the storm is brewing. There's a volcano erupts and almost swamps the ship, which is surprisingly not called the Atlantic Queen. It damages the ship. It's called the Triton. So they have to go out and they find these strange fish that have been churned up. The bottom of the ocean's been churned up. The fish are just props. They don't move. They're dead. But there's a lot of optical fog going on throughout the entire movie. And there is the only person in the movie that's likable the entire time. That's little Sean, Vincent Winter as Sean, the orphaned village boy. So let's see. Continue. Yeah, he passed away in November of 1998 at 50 years old. He was in assistant director and actor known for Superman, The Little Kidnappers, and Superman 3. Oh. I'm trying to see if I've seen any other things of his. Probably not. Production manager. The Wind in the Willows, a.k.a. Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. So he did a lot of work. So he kept himself. Oh, he worked on Cutthroat Island as a unit manager, the model unit. Well, anyway, he's the only likable. He's the only one that knows what's going on, and really everyone else in this movie is, except for the professors, they're all right, but they're greedy and unlikable and nosy. So that's where we get the name Ogra for Gorgo. Gorgo is the little one. Ogra is his mother. Spoiler alert: there's two. So there's our harbor master, who's a jerk. He's greedy. He's Kevin, played by Christopher Rhodes as Kevin McCartan. And he tells them we'll give them water, but then you have to fix your own ship. We're not going to help you. Because they're pulling up sunken treasure is what the whole gist of it there. See? Sunken treasure. So our heroes, and I use the term in quotes, and I am using it right there, Joey, go down to look, and they run into, well, they don't run into him, but they see Gorgo here. And he's just a little guy. He's well, kind of cute. They're like, yeah, let's get up. So they go in to talk to the harbor master, and Sean says, what are you doing? And off they go. So they talk to him, and here we go. I'm going to have a little clip right now from the movie because I can. So let's watch. This is very atmospheric. I quite like this whole shot, but they're asking for trouble. I mean, even a small monster is. They speak a lot of Gaelic, Irish Gaelic, of course, and they're going to poke at the beast. What's wrong with them? Right in the head. They're lucky they missed the eyeball. So this is our first look at Gorgo. There's a lot of famous stills where he's reaching up there. Sean calls him Ogra. So sounds like an elephant to me, combined with a lion. Run away, run away! So my problem with Gorgo, mother and son, is the suit is bulky and it's stiff. It's a great looking monster, but it can't turn its head. It can't look down. So it's a great looking suit, but it doesn't move like the Japanese monsters do. But we get a lot of great shots in here. The miniatures are nice. They look good. It's filmed properly. The eyeballs glow red. I mean, but look at the special. Look at this. The split screen here looks great. So can't say that it looks bad. All right, let's stop here. We don't even know why he's attacking. Well, he got poked in the face, so of course he's annoyed. So as we see, they were throwing fire at Gorgo. This looks pretty good. A lot of times they look like matches when they throw something against a giant animal, but this one looks all right. We find out Gorgo's afraid of fire because he leaves. So they're rebuilding the village, and everyone wants to leave on the steamer with the Triton with our heroes. Sean is a nosy little busybody and has to find out what's going on here. They find out that the harbor master has been, selling gold for profit. So they go down in a bell. Does that sound familiar at all? Yes, right out of 20 Beasts from 20,000 Fathoms. But he's a lot luckier. There's Gorgo playing with the bell. They drop nets on him. He's a lot smaller than the beast. As we know, he's probably 18, 20 feet tall, I would guess. So a good 50 feet long, but gigantic. They tell the world the monster of Nara Island. See, they always gathered around televisions. The professors show up and say, we want you to take him to Ireland. And they're like, we've got to offer for a lot of money. So we're taking him to England. Then we find out Sean stowed away, of course, to the surprise of no one. But he's still, one of the best kids in monster movies. Sven Guli's airing The Black Scorpion next week, and Pepe or Lupe or whatever his name is. Oh, I've got some thoughts about him. So they all right, get the little stowaway here. He's trying to set Gorgo free so that they'll save their silly skins, as we'll see in the trailer. Everyone gives them a big old welcome. There's Dorkin himself. Oh, that's Martin Benson as Andrew Dorkin. I think he lives though. Look at that mobile telecast unit. Look at the size of that. Gee, many Christmas. Now this was supposed to. They didn't advertise properly for the publicity stunt here. They thought they'd get a lot of crowds, and it was either rainy. Something happened where they did not, which is sad because it looks very pathetic. They talk about the big crowds, and you kind of get a few where they grouped them all together. But driving through London, this could have been a big deal. There is probably the only woman in the entire movie, aside from Gorgo's mother. And then they're like, well, so they release him. He gets away. Flamethrowers show up. And there's the feet are pretty nice. These are full size props. Well, that's not, but they have some full size prop feet and they look pretty good. Guy gets killed, first of many, but that doesn't stop him. People, they never learn you do not bring a giant monster back to civilization. It never ends up well. So there's Dorkin himself, hawking him. Oh, look, there's another woman, but she's got no lines. Baby Gorgo is just annoyed. Our heroes have a disagreement. One of them's drunk, and that's, I think that's Joe, and that's Sam Slade, Big Sam Slade. He's having a crisis of conscience, so he's drinking a lot. And old Sean listens to him fight, but then the professors say, there's the little one, the big one. If there's a baby, there's a mother who's 200 feet tall. That's taller than the first series Godzilla, who topped out at 150, more or less. But I would say Gorgo is probably about the same size. They're like, something's going to happen if you don't take care. But Gorgo's crying and emitting sonic waves, probably. And guess who shows up? There she is. So let's watch a little bit of Ogra's attack on the village. How's that sound? Looking at his 50 pieces of gold. Uh-oh. Mama's back and she's angry. Once again, this copy did come from the Internet Archive. The pictures came from my Blu-ray. This is probably from a Blu-ray print, but it's not as, they got uploaded. So Harbor Master's dead. She just marches right through the village. No problemo. It's a short little rampage, but it's supremely effective because, of course, she's gigantic. And we'll just stop right there. So the professors tell the army or the military what's going on, and then Mama shows up. They try to bomb her out of existence. See, doesn't work. Now our two heroes, they're like, well, we can't give him up. She's having none of it. And old Bill, or I don't remember if it's Joe or Sam here, is trying to, actually, it looks like Sam's trying to release Gorgo, but that doesn't work. The bombing doesn't work. Nothing works. Typical giant monster movie. Nothing there. So she's just on her way, and then she wades ashore in England, in London. Off she goes. Nothing works. They try to fire. Johnny Human Torch shows up. These guys look like, early versions of the Beatles, but that guy turns into Johnny Human Torch. And there's some great shots in here. The London Bridge is falling down. Love this shot. And this set was huge because it's most of London and it's by the water. So they put a lot of money into it. The budget was pretty good. It looks like it made $155 million in the U.S. I don't know what the total budget for the movie was. It got comic books. It got a novelization. And then, it's got DVDs and VHS and toys. and more comic books. So it was sort of successful. At 23 or 24 issues from Charlton. We will be talking about that. Don't you worry. And now there goes Big Ben. So the Gorgo suit looks great. It's just that the neck is so thick that, and that's where the actor's head is. The actors that played the Beast were Mick Dillon and Dave Wilding as the Beast, at least according to Wikipedia. I don't know which one was which, but they didn't. I think both costumes are the same ones. They had two, but it's just you can almost see where the forehead is right there. So, and that's just me knowing it or looking at it a lot. But the miniatures are great. A lot of the matte work is great. Some of the matte work is not. But, just rampaging through London. At least she's got a reason. She's looking for a kid. Now, Mothra came out the exact same year. Very similar storyline with the giant moth looking for the Shobijin, the twin fairies. So, very similar, but that's serendipity right there. That's just what people unfamiliar with the law of large numbers would call a coincidence. There's the crowd, and that's a lovely shot here. Gorgo against all of that, really well done. It's busy, but your eyes immediately go to Gorgo. You don't need to have to be a 500-foot monster or a 300-meter monster. That's 900, 1,000 feet. It's ridiculous. It's too big. Does that say Schwing? No, Schweppes. So there's the military is called out once again. And this guy was saying the end was nigh, and then he gets crushed. No. And they find Sean, who's been carried away. Both of them do. So they've kind of reformed themselves a bit, and I'm assuming maybe they became Sean's legal guardians. The reporter finally, they try to electrocute Gorgo. That doesn't, or Ogra. That doesn't work. And finally, she gets to the circus. And there she's rescuing Gorgo. So there's the full size. It's a really nice shot there. I guess Gorgo climbs onto the foot, and off they go. Our prayers have been answered. Sean looks a little too happy, so that's a matte shot there, because I'm sure they didn't have two suits. And off they go. Now, if you have seen this scene again, it was repeated in the 1993 Godzilla versus Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, where Mechagodzilla was kind of a transform with three pieces or something. It's been a minute since I've seen it, but Baby Godzilla goes into the water with Godzilla, and it also was done in Final Wars, where Minya goes into the water with Godzilla, exactly the same way. But that's the end of the movie. So like I said, Charlton did a series of comic books, picked up right from where this ended. Steve Ditko, Dick Giordano did the artwork for several of them. We'll be talking at least about the Ditko books because I have a collection. So that is our movie. And what could be coming up later? Something that's sort of a ripoff of this movie? Maybe. But there you have it. That's our movie for today. And until our next assignment, tomorrow when we talk about Waldo Kitty, this is X7 signing off and phasing out.
Fire! No motion picture of our time has ever unleashed sharp spectacle of such scope and realism as up from the depths of prehistoric mystery rages Gorgo. The headlines of the world blaze the fabulous story of this monster from another age, catapulted from some vast sub-ocean cavern by unprecedented volcanic action. And the headlines scream the story of the reckless skin divers who captured the monster and put it on exhibition.
Sam! Pull out! Drop the nets! What do you think you're doing? Okay, take it easy.
I came to let him go back to the sea where he belongs.
Why?
Maybe to save your silly skins for you.
Hurry, hurry, hurry to see Gorgo!
But the headlines do not record the story of a little boy who had a curious sympathy and understanding for the fantastic creature. What strange secret does he know that scientists only suspect?
You trying to say there may be a fully grown one of these things around somewhere?
How big would a full-grown one be?
An approximate guess. The infant, the adult.
That would make it nearly 200 feet tall.
Wreaking terrible vengeance against the civilization that has captured its offspring. Towering over the cities of the world as millions flee its awesome terror.
Prepare! Prepare while you still can! Prepare!
Nothing can stop it. Defying the force of the army, the might of the Navy.
Fire number 1 turret.
Ready to open fire, sir. Fire 1.
Even the fury of the jets. In a crashing crescendo of sights never before beheld by human eyes, and adventures never before experienced by any man or woman.